And welcome back to another edition of Issues in Education. Mondays during the Noon Report, we spotlight the issues impacting our schools with the one and only Dr. Ralph Kerr at the Teaching and Learning Institute in Houghton, New York. Ralph, welcome back to the program.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Some people are going to be saying there's a good thing there's only one and only of him.
Well, I tell you what, it's great to have you on, friend, and you were kind enough to come in from out of the cold and answer some tough questions. We've got some controversial issues this week that demand the Dr. Kerr treatment. So here we go. We'll begin in New York. Attorney General Tish James is being sued for threatening school board members in Massapequa. This is on Long Island. She has told them, do not criticize transgender policies or you will be removed from the board. This came in the form of a guidance letter. Board members, Ralph, who use the wrong pronouns will face removal. Students are banned from speaking out at school board meetings on this issue. What's going on in Massapequa? And is the Attorney General overstepping her authority here?
Well, I believe that she is. I mean, sending a guidance letter like that, wish she'd put her time into other things. But I am really glad that the board has decided to sue her over this, because this really has a chilling effect on free speech. And she's asking board members and even students to kind of self-censor on controversial issues. And I think the bottom line here is that this could be a violation of the First Amendment rights of the school board members and the students that are involved. And again, I think she has overstepped her authority, and I'm glad in one sense that the board is suing her over this. But again, I'm sorry that they are, because it's a cost to the taxpayers. But again, you have to defend your rights, and in this case, I think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, for a student to speak out at a school board meeting about biological boys competing in girls' sports, for the AG to say, you can't talk about that? Come on. That's,
for sure.
I think you used the word chilling. That kind of defines it. Well, hey, if we're not controversial enough, let's head to Washington, D.C. There's a charter school there, Ralph, that proposes paying students $50 a week to combat chronic absenteeism. They're not coming to school, so let's pay them to come to school. This is happening in our nation's capital, where about 40% of students were chronically absent last year. That's when you miss more than 10% of school days. What do you think, Ralph, of this idea of paying students to attend school in the District of Columbia?
Well, at first blush, it really sounds pathetic in my mind. But when I looked into it a little more, at least taxpayer funding is not involved in this payment. It's really part of a larger research project at the national level that's being funded by private foundations called the $50 study. It's been ongoing for several years, and they're really trying to figure out, is it worth paying students in order to get them to school? Because absenteeism, as we've talked about before, is a major problem. Students end up with a lower academic performance. They often have a higher dropout rate. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of reasons to be trying to get students to come to school, and I guess this is a project that they think might work out. Again, I'm grateful that there's not taxpayer money involved in this, because if there was, I would say there's got to be other alternatives to paying students to go to school.
I guess in this district, this charter school, I should say, they're going to pay them up to $2,000. And you can understand the motivation here, because state aid is dependent upon enrollment rates. And if kids aren't coming to school, then there's less state aid. So,
Bob, you're learning the intricacies here of educational funding. I'm impressed.
When you hang out with Dr. Kerr, you start to learn a few things. But we'll end in Pennsylvania. It doesn't seem like we go a week without talking about this issue, but it's big news in the Commonwealth, because the Senate Education Committee last week, Ralph, unanimously approved a bell-to-bell smartphone ban in schools. There's few things that both Republicans and Democrats agree on, but I guess this is one of them. Districts in PA would have to adopt these policies prohibiting digital devices during the school day. Schools would have flexibility on how to enforce this ban. New York's already done this with overwhelming success. Can Pennsylvania do it too, Ralph?
Well, I think they can, and I'm really pleased that they've taken at least one good thing from New York State and said maybe we ought to copy that because, as you said, it has been really successful in New York. And again, I like this idea because although they passed a bill at the state level, they're still saying that school districts need to adopt the policies related to the use of digital devices and also have the flexibility to enforce the ban. Going back to the first topic, I think if the Attorney General had left it up to the local school to develop the policies, I think they'd have been better off. But this is a good one in Pennsylvania, and I'm glad that they've taken this step.
All right, and we'll end it right there. But if you have questions on any of these topics, New York's AG's antics, chronic absenteeism in Washington, D.C., or Pennsylvania's proposed cell phone ban, or you'd simply like to learn more about the Teaching and Learning Institute. What are you anyway, Ralph? How can folks find you online?
They can simply go to yrun.org, yrun.org.